Hey, white folks. Um, I hadn't like prepared to make a video or anything. I want to do like videos on. I wanted to do like information online, but I just was like I'm having a thought about something, and I just thought it'd be like something I'll put out in a video. So just off the top of my head, I don't look. Here's the thing about these platforms, and people like me see them. When they launch these platforms, people like me were saying, I mean, look, like it's not for nothing when they see when you read in the paper that they used they had the first postmodern revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt. They used Facebook. Okay, I just want to talk about what like political economists and theorists and stuff like we're saying because it's really important to know. 5 years before, 6 years before, that is let's say at 2000. This Facebook platform, and I think this one launched in maybe like 2004 or something. So what were we saying long before then about these new platforms that we hadn't seen yet? What we were saying, and also it was part of our way of seeing what. I mean, it's not a secret. It's just whether or not, David, this guy called David Frum, who was kind of like a sort of right. He used to write big like little think pieces for like the Republican Party and stuff, and he would like say, I mean, in interviews openly that they say, well, why are you sending, why this like why the Zionists sending? They didn't say that. Why were the Zionists sending the military over the Middle East all of a sudden? Is it because of 9/11? And they didn't say the Zionists, but he would say, well, you see, it doesn't matter if we're there. What's happening is because of these platforms that are coming out, these technologies, we will be becoming more and more part of their mental architecture, and we have to head off, fascist movements, which is true, but not fascism like wanted to kill everybody, but meaning like that they're gonna want national economic growth. Gonna want cross class solidarity against liberalism. They're gonna want foreign banks out. They're gonna want what Iran wants. They're gonna want what the Germans wanted prior to World War II, during when we launched World War II. That's what they're gonna want. So we're gonna go there to stop that. That's why, because we're about to become part of their mental architecture. Particularly not see 9/11. Part of the thing was like they read the sign just saying like, oh, okay, here we go. The whole world just saw these images, and we're aware of all these platforms about to come online. And the thing about the kind of, I keep using them Zionists. They don't call themselves that, but the people who control our society, like they've been concerned for a very long time. They've been a fascist international, like all the Nazi scientists and Nazi theorists and all those people. Like it's not that they defeated Germany and they got rid of them and Hitler, but no. I mean all the theorists and scientists and intellectuals went into this thing called the Fascist International, which is what Yaki was a part of and everything, and they're very concerned about that. Why? Because like while our people control our society, their power is overt. It's through the TV and through their military and the state. Right, but they knew that this fascist international and all these like geniuses and shit like that they were working on ways to be well, how would they handle things being out of power of a state. So right, they're like, oh, all these technologies are coming online. They're not 100% sure if this is kind of like something evolving out of I mean, they just don't know where a lot of things are coming from, but they sort of get the signs, and then they say everyone saw the images of 9/11 and like, uh oh, okay, look, we better go to the Middle East really fast because this is sort of what David Frum was saying. I'm paraphrasing him. And he's not exactly a bright guy, but I'm saying like this is sort of the idea. Oh, we're about to become part of their mental architecture. They're in Saudi Arabia, they're looking at porn images now, and it's just a matter of time before what. Well, before and then when that Facebook launched, was like, oh, that's one of those new platforms. Oh boy, I wonder which Arab countries are going to try to have revolutions with it. Where'd that idea come from? Well, the first person who launched that was that guy Marcos. And they always said, oh, all these people, they spent a long time planning their revolution. Well, what do you mean a long time planning it? Just a bunch of guys in the woods in South America. Well, what it is it took a long time to conceptualize it, and what they figured out to do was this thing with the videos. They did night vision within the mountains, and he was like down there with a mask, and but he spoke in like poetry, and the whole point was when that shit went online. I mean, all these young girls and stuff all over college campuses at liberal colleges were like, oh my God, the Zapatistas, and we got to back the Zapatistas. I mean, they had girls in America, backing their revolution, and it's just a bunch of guys in the woods. So, I mean, that's the whole idea. Is it's like it's kind of big concept, but it's also kind of simple and like common sensey. So the point is right, and this is when that Facebook launched was like, oh man, I wonder. And then I was in Egypt and Tunisia. I predicted Egypt by Tunisia. Well, I didn't even think I know what Tunisia was But the point is, right, okay, and then you found out, right, it was like a Google executive who was mainly doing, or what was he doing? I mean, nothing. It's just, that's what that platform would be. But then you'd have what might be called the revolutionaries, but like in a technical sense, like a Google executive, a person who was at Google, right? He was, I don't know what kinds of things he was doing online. I mean, I don't speak Arabic. I can't read like the Facebook in Arabic, but like whatever stuff those type of people were doing in the ruling classes, right, got down into the people and the working classes, and then they just all of a sudden about to overthrow the government. By the way, I don't know if people read I don't know how people read this information, but like the thing that was happening there is that what they did is that they had everything like on Facebook where they're talking, and then what they had seen is like, okay, when it goes down, that is something's gonna happen, and then you'll get the cue to going out in the streets. So like then it was like, but it had been going for a couple of years. Facebook had been around since 2004, and they did it in 2010. So 6 years of kind of like talking online, getting everyone into it, and then especially it's easy when everyone has a shared identity. And so I feel like when you have white politics, because they're all Arabs. So like right, and then like it's happening. Like there's people trying to overthrow the government. How are they gonna? They're not gonna overthrow the government, are they? Well, no, but what's happened is the minute the government brings the tanks out to like shoot them, the whole country goes into the street with candles. Please step down. Please step down. How did they do that? Oh, they use Facebook. So like that's what the platforms are about. So people like me, like being like, like, do you want to start talking about these kind of things, what white people should do? I mean, that's the kind of thinking, but it's like common sense type of shit, really. I mean, it's not deep, but at the same time, you gotta be a little high concept to get it. I mean, but theorists are talking about this shit, so I guess I'm just thinking out loud. But I'll make another video like this.